A garden is never really finished. Just when you think every corner has found its purpose, another idea quietly appears. Sometimes it's not because something's missing, but because the space itself seems to ask for it. And today one small patch of ground has me wondering what might happen if I gave the birds somewhere new to gather. I've learned never to throw timber away too quickly. The piece that looks completely useless today has a habit of becoming exactly the thing you need months later. The challenge is remembering what you kept it for, because somewhere in this pile is the answer to an idea I've had for a while. The only problem is finding it. I've been thinking about why I enjoy making things for wildlife. The birds won't care who built this. They won't judge the joinery or even notice whether the edges are straight. If they use this at all, it'll be because it simply does its job. There's something strangely freeing about that. So much of life feels tied to recognition, to others noticing our efforts. But out here, none of that really matters. The only opinion that counts probably belongs to a robin that's going to spend less than 30 seconds sitting on top of it before flying off again. And somehow, that feels like enough. The funny thing is, this isn't really for today. It might take many hours, possibly even days, before anything will decide to land on my new bird table. But that's always been one of the things I like most about gardening. You spend so much time doing work that has no immediate reward. It's an odd way to spend your time, unless you realize you're not really building certainty. You're creating the possibility for something to happen. I don't usually think too far ahead. Most days I'm just focused on whatever's in front of me. But every now and then a job comes along that makes you picture the future instead. Not tomorrow, or even next week. I'm already imagining winter mornings, when everything else has gone quiet, wondering which birds might still be stopping by. There's a strange moment with any project where it stops being a project. This was just a collection of bits of wood that had been sitting around waiting for their chance. Now it's standing here, and my brain has already decided it belongs. Which is probably a little ridiculous when you think about it. The birds haven't seen it, they haven't approved the location, they haven't held a tiny meeting to discuss whether the craftsmanship is up to standard. But that's an interesting thing about making things. We put time and care into creating something, knowing the only people who might appreciate it are the ones who will never know we made it. And maybe that's the best part. I'm sure the wood stain won't matter to the birds. I think we do these things partly because we're not just making something useful, we're also leaving a little bit of ourselves in the places we care about. After all the measuring, cutting and second-guessing, it's strange how quickly something can go from being an idea in your head to simply becoming part of the garden. But the truth is, the interesting part hasn't happened yet. This table will spend most of its time sitting here quietly. It won't know if it's been appreciated. It won't know if anyone visits. It will just be here, waiting. And I suppose that's the lovely thing about creating spaces for wildlife. We don't get to decide when the story begins. We just make the invitation and wait to see who accepts. This is a green shield bug. Despite the name, they don't always stay green. As autumn arrives, many of them gradually change to shades of bronze and brown before disappearing into leaf litter for the winter. It's funny. A few years ago, I'd probably have walked straight past it without a second thought. Now I find myself stopping for creatures I never even knew existed. And it makes me wonder how much of nature isn't actually rare. It's just waiting for someone to notice. It's days like this that remind me why I love having an allotment. Not because every project goes perfectly, or every harvest is a success, but because there's always another reason to come back tomorrow. Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave this one. Although before we do, there's one last thing I'd like to show you.